All right. It has been a wonderful webinar so far talking about overcoming performance anxiety and stage fright. And for my final guest, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Miss Chantal Braziel. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Indeed. Welcome to our webinar and thank you for taking time out of your schedule to talk to us today about overcoming performance anxiety and stage fright. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So, I am a professionally and classically trained opera singer. I am a native in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I have been singing opera for several years now. I've been singing way before I could even talk. I was an infant when I started singing, and I grew up with having lessons, and I sang in my church. My parents are pastors in Pittsburgh, PA, and I have been very active in their church singing solos and growing up singing in church choirs. But it wasn't until I knew anything about classical music or opera until I pursued my Bachelor's of Arts degree at St. Vincent College, and my former voice teacher introduced me to a whole new world of opera, particularly African American opera singers that I love today, such as Leontine Price, Kathleen Battle, Jesse Norman, and I researched more of these operas and singers who sang in these operas, and I started to have a bit of an interest because I grew up singing gospel music. I grew up in the church. I grew up singing in the church, and gospel music was all I knew. As a matter of fact, when I wanted to grow up, I wanted to become this famous gospel singer like we know Yolanda Adams is. And but opera didn't really occur to me until I found out that black singers are opera singers as well, such as the singers that I know and love today, and Leontine Price and Jesse Norman. And so I researched them, I studied the operas, I grew to love the operas, but nobody knew I could sing opera until during my performances in school. I recorded myself singing opera for the first time. It's called an oratorio concert where I sing sacred music in opera, and I received so much attention. Everybody who knew me personally, who I grew up with, knew that I could sing, knew that I had a voice. But when singing operatically, singing from the heart came out of my mouth, they were completely stunned. So I grew to have so much respect and a passion for opera. I have been singing in auditions. I have been singing in major performances and productions. One of them singing in the ensemble of Porgy and Bess at the Metropolitan Opera last season, and that changed my life for the best because I have worked with so many great people, so many other black opera singers that I grew to have a respect for and just worked with, and we all sang the same thing with that same passion. So it has not been easy. It's a lot of work, a lot of consistency. Well, I had to keep my love and passion for it at the same time. But I knew God did not give me this gift only for me not to use it. So that's how it really all began for me.
Indeed, interesting, interesting. It's just some wonderful people that you mentioned. I interviewed a panelist the other day, and he had the opportunity to actually study with Leontine Price. So that blew me away because I've worked with this person for a while. I had no idea that they actually studied with Leontine Price when they were pursuing graduate studies at Mississippi College. So that was, just an amazing thing.
Oh,
But
yes.
thank you so much. Thinking about your performances, whether it was when you were receiving your education. I know you just finished your master's degree. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And just thinking about those types of settings and your settings professionally, has there ever been a time where you've encountered stage fright or performance anxiety, or has there been a time where you've been performing and had to come to a complete stop? And if so, what did you do to overcome or combat your anxiety, and how did you move forward from that?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, whenever I perform on the stage, in person, online, I always get nervous because I want to do well. I want to make sure that I am ready and all set and for people to like what they hear. And I remember the first time that I had stage fright was when I was a sophomore, junior in college, and I sang in a small concert at my school. I had to sing in a voice seminar at my school, and instantly, when I was in the process of singing, I literally stopped because I forgot the words right then and there, and my nerves really got the best of me until at the very last minute I started singing again. I remembered the words, I remember what I was singing, I remember how what I was talking about while I was singing, and I just continued it, and it happens. And I think that experience really taught me how to be prepared for upcoming major performances that I'm doing today.
Indeed, indeed. Just, wow, it's good, to know that, you've been able to work through those things. And I think, for listeners, the common thread that everyone's been saying is that if you stop, keep going. It's not so much the fact that you're making a mistake or that you make a mistake, it's how you recover from that mistake. That's one little blip or one little moment in the realm of the greatness that you've performed, but leading up to that point and after that point. So it's important to keep going. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just breathe, take a deep breath, and just start over or restart where you are. So thank you for that. Now I know, with COVID, things are a lot different. I remember seeing a clip of you performing in front of one of the opera houses for, like, I guess, the Save the Opera House movement or Save the Opera House initiative the other day. Um, but with that, thinking pre-COVID, how often were you performing, like in a year's time or in a month's time? How often were you performing?
I was practicing almost every day. Every day I
Okay.
practice, but I've had a couple of performances and gigs like every week, every other
Mhm.
week. I was also in school, so I also had performances then.
Mhm.
But I am very active in my hometown, Pittsburgh, so I've been singing there regular on a regular basis until everything came to a halt. But it didn't really stop there for me. I started to learn how to sing online and have that same mindset, and how to be even more hardworking and have more performance opportunities online, so that way hopefully once everything opens up, we I will be ready to perform again. So it has been good and bad.
Mhm. Indeed, indeed. So kind of like almost like the tiny desk concerts now, the virtual concerts. Okay, that's great that you're still performing. What advice would you give to current music majors, special performance majors, but education majors too? What advice would you give them to help them overcome performance anxiety, whether it's in juries, weekly seminars, or whether it's their junior or senior recital?
I would say know your craft. Find why you started singing in the first place. And for those who have upcoming recitals and performances in school, make sure you sing something that you know. Make sure you know the words and the meaning behind the words, behind what you're singing. Research the composer, research the opera if you're singing arias and operas. And the most important part, while you perform, enjoy it. Never forget to enjoy it. Find a piece that you enjoy it, and once you sing it, you are actually living in that piece. I know it's hard. I know it's overbearing, it's stressful, but don't take that for granted. Always remember why you started singing. Be in that moment, live in that moment, live into that selection that you are singing, and enjoy it. Don't worry about the outcome, enjoy the process. It doesn't matter, because for it will help you, singing in recitals and singing in juries will help you with upcoming auditions, and you can't worry about what the outcome is going to be. The outcome is going to be the outcome. What you can do is prepare, pray. For me, I pray before every audition, I pray before every performance, because it's going to be in God's hands no matter what. But know why you're singing it, choose why you're singing it, and enjoy it. Live in that selection. And while you enjoy that selection, it will have other people enjoy it as well.
Right. Right. Indeed. Indeed. You're bringing it to life. And that's so, so amazing to think about. And again, listeners, you're hearing some great things from panelists. And remind you again, none of my panelists have had the opportunity to talk with each other prior to their interview or prior to their session. So it's amazing that a lot of them are saying some of the same content to you. So when you hear it more than once, you know it's something that you should apply, to your everyday living, especially with loving your peace, falling in love with your peace, or like one of my panelists said, falling into a strong like with your piece, because it makes it that much more meaningful, not only to yourself, but to your audience as well, because the audience can sense when you're not familiar with the piece, when you're not comfortable with the piece, or when you just hate a piece. They can sense that because you don't perform it with the same passion as you do the excerpts or the pieces that you love. So definitely some words to live by. Now, we talk a lot, we try to give our education majors, if we have these types of conversations. I don't feel we have the conversations enough about performance anxiety and stage fright. It's just like, oh, well, if you're prepared, you wouldn't be anxious. It's more to it than that. But when we do address it, we only address it for our music majors. Now, what would you say to someone, they're already a professional, they've graduated, and they're getting ready to go and audition for the Metropolitan Opera, or they're getting ready to audition for Broadway, or they're auditioning for a professional symphony or choir? What advice would you give them as they prepare for their audition, as to help them overcome their stage fright or their performance anxiety? Because that's a different animal when you're trying to audition for something that's going to pay you.
Hmm. I would have that same mindset because you learn all these things while you're in school. However, you learn even more about yourself and about your voice while you are out of school. But also have that same attitude, know what you're getting paid to do, be prepared, seeing the selections, study the roles, prepare before, like a couple months before the performance, so that way you know what to do. Study that character, study what you're trying to do, enjoy it at the same time. Not only find pieces that are good for your voice or whatever that selection is, but also know the purpose behind it. And if you are studying the character, you have to really become that character. That's what singing is partly about, becoming someone else that is outside of your own. Do what you're comfortable doing at the same time while you do something uncomfortable. As this, you can be uncomfortable, you have to do what is uncomfortable, but while you're doing it, do the same thing, pieces that you know that are good and benefit for yourself and your voice, but also something that you know that you got to be confident in.
Mm-hmm.
Be confident, not overconfident to the point where you're arrogant, you're better than everybody else. But you have to go into a room. It doesn't matter what stage it is, it doesn't matter if it's the Met, if it's a local stage, your audition, you have to go in there with your head held high. You can be nervous. Just make sure that nervous energy doesn't overtake you. Let it be good nerves instead of something that you're dreading. And be
Indeed.
confident. Put more confidence in yourself. Say that no matter what the outcome is, you are blessed that you are going to be heard. You are blessed that you're going to sing what you enjoy, what you know how to do. That's the thing. You have to be confident knowing that you are meant to do this. Know that it's something you want to do. If you don't want to do it, if you're going to have that negative mindset whenever you audition, whenever you sing in a performance, then don't expect it to go well. Don't expect it to go something that the way you want it to. You know that you have a gift, you know you have a beautiful voice, but also know what to do with it. And part of that is being confident. So you have to have that same thing when you get paid to do these things. Go
Right.
and do it with grace and confidence.
Indeed. Thank you so much. Thank you. And that's so important, just to be confident and to not breed negativity. You don't ever want to go into something. You have this wonderful opportunity to audition. That's a blessing within itself. So don't be pessimistic about it and think about all the things that could go wrong. Be very optimistic and be thankful. Live in the moment. The fact that you have the invitation, I would even laminate the invitation, put it on your mirror or something. So that's something you're smiling about and preparing for well in advance. I like what you said about preparing months in advance. I had a panelist that said, hey, even go through it as a real dress rehearsal. Put on what you're going to wear for that event. Stand how you're going to stand. See if you can see the venue ahead of time so that you know how you're going to walk out, how you're going to approach yourself. Decide which hotel room you're staying in the night before. That way you can get acclimated to the surroundings and eliminate any external stresses that may add to your anxiety of just being nervous to be in that surrounding. And yes, all nervous energy isn't bad energy. Sometimes it's good, and you can use that to your advantage to kind of push you through a performance. So all good points there. Before we close, is there anything else you wish to share for the greater good of our music majors or our music professionals who are listening?
Most important that every music major, every singer knows, enjoy the journey.
Mm,
Your performance, your auditions, overcoming this anxiety, overcoming what you're worried about is all a process. Don't think that you're a winner or you're a failure just by finding out what the results or outcome is going to be. You are blessed and thankful to be in this very moment where you are right now.
mhm,
So while you prepare, while you practice your confidence and your singing and your performing, enjoy it, love it, because you are on this journey, your own journey for this very reason. Don't look to the left or right. Never, ever, ever compare yourself to anybody else. No matter where they are in their life, you are where you are supposed to be in your life, in your journey of singing, of music, of whatever you are doing. Enjoy it, and whenever you feel down about it, if you feel like you need to take a break, go ahead, take a break, take a breather. You don't need to do too much, but once you are done with your break, go right back to it and just sing and enjoy it. Love it. Know who and whose you are while you're
mhm.
doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much for that. I, Ms. Brazil, I just want to thank you so much just for joining us today and for helping us to round out our webinar entitled Overcoming Performance Anxiety and Stage Fright. So my listeners out there, thank you for tuning in. Please, please, please review this, share this with others, share it with your music majors, your colleagues, use this in your everyday life. And for more information about this webinar or upcoming webinars, you can contact me at tLbrock@prodigiousmusicconcepts.org. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, PMC Professional Development Webinars on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook at Prodigious Music Concepts or on Instagram at Prodigious Music Concepts. Once again, thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to having you on future webinars.